been upheld, the 2-game ban by the Spanish Football Federation's disciplinary committee. It says Jude Bellingham has been suspended 2 games for attitudes of contempt or lack of consideration towards referees. This is what we're looking at right now. Obviously, the piece you just saw there had a voiceover as well, so that you could be very clear as to what was said from both parties. Frank, why are you laughing?
Because it reminds me of my first days at Chelsea, where the first word you know is that word, and you use it, like that, subconsciously. And I understand what Jude did, and why he was surprised, but I understand the ref, because the ref heard it, he said it, so he punished the insult. And I know in England, like in America, when you say it, sometimes you say it because it's like a punctuation of at the end of the sentence. We have the same thing with the same word in French, and sometimes I'm saying it like a punctuation. But you cannot say that to a referee, and it's only fair for me that he got a red card. But it really reminds me, because I was talking to Dennis Wise, we can use that word like 10 times in the same sentence. So when you listen to your captain, you copy it and you say the same stupid words, and it's why you are caught by refs.
If it's fair, the red card is 2 games, a 2-game ban, fair to you, Frank?
No, I would have put 1 game, because again, it's fair to punish the player who say that to a referee, and he had to be punished. 2 games, we can, if you psychologically go to the human being way of thinking, you will give 1 game, because you can see that Jude Bellingham is surprised by what he says and why the ref punishes him. So 1 game would have been only enough for me.
It's 2 for now, because Real Madrid will appeal the decision. We'll see what happens. Those games will be Girona and Real Betis. Does it feel harsh to you?
It does. But I think this is a continuation of what's been happening in Spain, and really specifically in Madrid with the referees. You send these letters, you send your complaints, you have your own channel highlighting the mistakes of referees every single week. It's going to create an environment in which people are really touchy and really nervous and really sort of kind of looking for reasons to, okay, you keep talking about us, eventually, instead of the calls going for you, no, they're going to continue to go against you. Now, some may say, no, referees don't work like that. No. It's human nature. If you have somebody telling you that you're terrible, guess what? When it comes to making a decision, I'm more likely to be far more sensitive about what you say to me than I am with other players. The other thing that I would say about Jude Bellingham is that he lingered for far too long in this specific sequence. He could have said whatever he wanted to say and then move on with his life. But he lingered. And according to the referee, this is the part in which I think he's really sensitive, me miró a los ojos. He looked at me in the eye. Oh, apparently you can't look at the referees in the eye anymore. Me miró a los ojos. It tells you that the referees are very conscious of the situation that is going on right now with Real Madrid and how touchy they're about the whole situation. So when somebody says something, all of a sudden, here you go, red card, see you later, take care, goodbye.
So it doesn't matter that it was a F off instead of F you, as the referee said?
It wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter to me, but first, it's a different language. And again, we're asking referees to understand the sort of the context as to why F off and FU is different. What referees are hearing is not the off or you, they're hearing the F. That's the part that they're listening to, that's the part that they're hearing, and at that point, I think that's where the decision becomes clearer for the referee. I don't think it's correct to give them 2 games for that, but that's, again, the situation right now with referees and Real Madrid, very touchy. And the situation with then Jude Bellingham as well, very touchy, because if you go back to the week before, against, was it Atletico Madrid, I believe, he was picked up in the microphones in which he actually said, F you and F off. He said both of them. So if you're a referee, now you have to differentiate between one and the other. I don't think that that's fair to ask from a referee in Spain. In England, different. In Spain, it's a different story.
Referees now, it seems, are turning into robots with no personality.
Yeah, that's true.
With the inability to understand the situation and the pressure. I don't think I've ever played in a game or broadcast a game that's had zero profanity at a referee. Not one. Not one. Ever. And there won't be this weekend. And there won't be next weekend. Or the weekend after in every country. And I'm not saying it's right. But referees generally handle it and give you a bit back. This is ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. Only those do-gooders out there that have never put a big toe over a white line in professional sport, of any sport, will sit back and go, you can't swear at a referee, it's wrong. Only the people who have never played a game in any country, in any sport, they're the only ones that could sit back and say, well, it's a disgrace. They don't understand what goes on in a field, what goes on between players and referees. And there is a line that you should not cross. But generally, that's when it becomes very personal. And telling a referee to the F word happens probably hundreds of times a game in one particular game. And this is not a get out for Real Madrid or Jude Bellingham. Doesn't matter what team this had happened to. Are we saying there's a directive now that you cannot swear at a referee? Come on. I'm sorry. It's just ridiculous.
I agree with you, Craig. It always happens, and it will carry on like that, and it will happen every game and every weekend we're going to see. But, I mean, you have to be clever. Sometimes you feel it, you want to say it, but don't say it to his eyes, like he mentioned. You know, you can turn your back and say it. F off, you know, like he feels that it's not for him. And because there is a body language as well, it's not for him. So it was a little bit too intense towards the referee. And as you say, referees are getting touchy. They're human beings. You walk down the street, I know you play a simple game, whatever it is, somebody says to you the F word, you get touchy. Everybody can get touchy. That's only fair because you don't want to be insulted. So it's not I'm trying to explain or to understand the referees, because I think that's stupid, as you mentioned, but some of them are more touchy than the others. And when a Jude Bellingham say that, looking at the referee, the guy can feel that it's only for him, and it's why he's been punished.
I suppose, and I don't want to linger too long on this, because it's driving me nuts now. Because I know there's people watching this will think that no professional soccer player's ever sworn at a referee, and you should be hung, drawn and quartered for it. There are people out there, unfortunately, in society that's kind of what they believe, and you know everything's a bed of roses wrapped in a ribbon. That's not the world we live in. But I suppose to Frank's point, maybe having been in Spain maybe a year and a half, maybe he doesn't have as good of understanding of the referees as players that have been there longer. And as a player, I suppose if I'm looking at it from a different perspective, then you have to maybe understand what referees you can push the button of a little bit more, and you get to figure that out as a player the longer you play in the league. Is like, well, I can say this to this referee because he'll just shrug it off or he'll give me a one-liner back, but I can't say this to another one because this referee at the weekend was very headmasterish. You know, he went over to Carlo Ancelotti and gave him a yellow card before this incident, but spent, to me, it seemed 30 to 45 seconds lecturing Carlo Ancelotti and why he was going to get the yellow card. Instead of just going over, giving him a yellow and getting back. That's kind of how he refereed the game at the weekend. So I suppose, in a sense,